Right, good afternoon, and thank you very much for joining me again today. And I'm back with Mr. Albert Matapo from the Zimbabwe People Power Movement. How are you, sir?
I'm fine. Thank you, Mr. Gambakwe. Thank you very much. How about you?
I'm fantastic. And today, we have a very important topic. Mr. Matapo, there is a problem in Zimbabwe. Everyone knows it. Zimbabwe has never fully operated as a successful country. You are going to unpack for us what went wrong in Zimbabwe and the vision that you have for solving these problems. Let us start with the problems. Why is it that Zimbabwe is in such a state of underperformance?
Yes, Zimbabweans. Good afternoon, Zimbabweans. Zimbabweans have never enjoyed any good life ever since 1980. We fought for liberation. We fought to liberate Zimbabwe. We thought we were liberating Zimbabwe from the colonizers. But what did we find? We found out that what we got afterwards was exactly a replica, if not worse than what the colonizers had in place. Actually, if Ian Smith had continued ruling, otherwise we would be better, much better than we are now. Because for the 100 years that the colonizers were in power, they managed to build all the cities that we have today and put in place the whole system that we have. Now, what did we do? We inherited that. And in the past 40 years, which is exactly almost half of the period that the colonizers were in power, what did we achieve? We achieved very, very little. I will start with education, for example. There are so many people who applaud Mugabe for having introduced education. Yes, we thank him, but there is very little, in my view, that he did. Because a lot of donor organizations came in with money to finance education, to upgrade our educational systems. Most of the funds were actually looted by Mugabe and his team. Instead of building first-class schools, good for our people, they stole most of the money and they built substandard schools and so on and so forth. Yes, we applaud him for just accepting, allowing schools to operate and so on and so forth. But in my view, we could have done even much better with the form of support that we got from the international community by that time. Okay, I will move on. The industrial sector never developed from where it was. Actually, from 1980, it was going down and down and down until now. It's completely nothing. There is completely nothing now. All that the Lever brothers of Zimbabwe, the what have you, all that have now been destroyed. Not only that, we go on to the mining sector. A lot of minerals had been discovered by the colonialists, and a lot more was also discovered afterwards, after independence. But are Zimbabweans really benefiting out of that? There is nothing. There is a lot that I can talk of. I don't want to go further because that can be wasting time. But now, look, because this regime, they started by looking at themselves to enrich themselves in 40 years. Now they are filthy rich. They are now richer than the country itself. It is because they have been looting, they have been, thwarting those who wanted to talk. If you talk in Zimbabwe, you either get killed or you are thrown into prison and stay a long time there, suffering and so on and so forth. So they actually do not promote freedom of press because there is no democracy whatsoever in Zimbabwe. They preach hate. Whatever they say, it's hate speech. They talk about the bad of the Western countries, the bad of the opposition, the bad of those who oppose them, those who point out. What they have promoted in Zimbabwe, it's a culture of bootlicking, a culture of praise worshipping. People of Zimbabwe today, please get me right here. Most of Zimbabweans today All they know is just bootlicking, worshipping other people so that they can get, the crumbs. What they want are crumbs. They say it's better to get crumbs now than to die in hunger. If you say, no, wait, you can get a farm and dairy cattle, a farm full of dairy cattle. They say, no, let me just get a packet of milk now and drink that. This is bootlicking. I blame Zimbabweans for allowing dictatorship to go on and on. And even until today, people are fighting. Those who are fighting for change are being fought by a few individuals within us. There are people who are fighting us to say, no, don't tell us that you want to liberate us. Liberating us from what? We are okay like this. I mean, look at it, as you can see. Everything has been destroyed. Everything, we are going to the dust with these ZANU-PF people. There are people then who get into you people and try to say, when they see effective movements, effective efforts being made to remove the current regime, there are people who come into you like snakes like this and start saying, no, those people have been sent by ZANU-PF. They are ZANU-PF themselves, but they come like that behind the scenes, start lying, start making this. So Zimbabweans, let us be careful. Let us work together. Let us leave that, because these ZANU-PF, they are totally 100% clueless. They have nothing to offer. Nothing is going to come. Some people are waiting for dialogue. Dialogue will not solve anything. Elections will not solve anything, because these people, because they have stolen a lot, they've done a lot, they will never want to be removed. Here is a great vision. Here is a vision coming from Zimbabwe People Power Movement. Zimbabwe People Power Movement has got a vision to upgrade Zimbabweans. Zimbabwe is going to be a jewel of the world. We have I told you last time, I said it last time, that we have got a great vision. We have got a plan for Zimbabwe. Firstly, the plan goes like this. We are going to take power from ZANU, and we are going to use legal means. And those legal means, don't worry about them. I know some people say, no, let's just take guns. No, don't worry. We don't want innocent people to be killed. We are fighting for the very same people. We don't want them to be killed. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about the formula. The formula is there. They will not have a choice. We will not give ZANU-PF a choice. That's one very, very important thing. So we are going to do it. We will take power from ZANU-PF. Don't worry about it. Let us just come together. It is the unity that we want. It is the recruitment and the mobilization. Pass the information to people. Let everybody get to know that we must unite. Time will come. Don't worry. I am there. We will give a signal, a proper signal. A signal is not just coming from my mouth. It is through action. You will see the action. It will come. When it's ripe, you will see it, that it is ripe. Now, here we are. We have got a great plan for Zimbabwe, where we are going to share power across the board, where people of Zimbabwe are going to have power for their country, and because of what we are going to do, the democracy that we are going to introduce in our country, we are going to have milk and honey. I can assure you that we have a great plan. Go to YouTube on this same video. You are going to see a lot that I'm going to talk about from now on. It's only that for WhatsApp purposes, it ends on just 10 minutes. We will trim this to 10 minutes just for WhatsApp. But continue watching this same video on YouTube and Facebook. You are going to see, you are going to hear a lot of details about how we plan to divide Zimbabwe from the 10 provinces to only 5 states. We are going to have just 5 states. And those 5 states are going to be like quarters. I've got this paper here, which we are going to upload. Of course, I've got this one here, and this paper here, which you can see, is going to be in quarters. We are going to divide Zimbabwe into, firstly, we will divide it into 4 quarters, stretching from somewhere between Victoria Falls and Kariba, and Binga there. We draw a line that goes right down until just below this Bait Bridge border post, and then we draw another line that runs below Plumtree, below Plumtree, and it goes straight to between Mutoko and Nyanga, somewhere there. Now, these regions, we have divided Zimbabwe into 4 quarters. Right at the center of Zimbabwe, which is around Chiundura area, we are going to draw a big circle that is going to put in place Gweru, Kwekwe, maybe around Chivu. They will be right inside that. And that is a big circle that we are going to draw. So now the northern part is going to be called Northern State. The eastern part is going to be called Eastern State. The southern part is going to be called Southern State. Then the western part is going to be called Western State. Right at the center is going to be called Central State. Within the Central State, we propose that we will put a new capital city in the right at the center. We have already talked to a lot of our friends who are willing to bring in massive investment. I told you last time that we have got a lot of investors who want to come into Zimbabwe, start big car manufacturing plants, start big heavy industrial sites, light industrial sites, properly planned, modern facilities put in place, underground tubes, underground trains, and underground buildings, tall buildings, all that you can think of. These plans are already at advanced stages. They are waiting to partner Zimbabweans and put in place, bring in a lot of investment. Guys, look at this. I am saying we are only 15, 16, 17 million Zimbabweans today. Each Zimbabwean is going to be empowered through the systems that we are going to put in place. We are going to have a lot of work, so much so that the whole of Africa, if not the whole world, will flock into Zimbabwe. Because when we start building this new capital city right at the center, we are going to have big motorways. One running from as far as Plumtree, straight passing through the new capital city until Forbes border in Mutare. Another one running from Bait Bridge straight to Chirundu, passing through the new capital city. Then we are going to have a circular, an outside motorway that is going to cut across all the states outside the central state, of course, all the 4 states, which will be running right round like that. And then we are going to have another one that goes slightly round the central state.
Okay, so Mr. Matapo, we are going to animate this description that you've given
yes.
for us, and we're going to put it as a separate video.
Yes.
But I think it's very clear to people what you're saying. You've spoken about reconfiguring the country.
Yes.
Geographically. So the infrastructure you've spoken about, the capital city, you've spoken about how you want to divide. Is there a basis
yes.
for dividing it the way you've said?
Yes. Okay. We are going to animate this, as Mr. Gambago has said. We will animate it so that everybody will be looking at it. And then these things are not just going to be imposed to you people. These things, because they are proposals that we are bringing to the people, we are going to bring them to you and say, right, look at this. These are the advantages. These are the disadvantages. And we're going to do that. And once we do that, people of Zimbabwe, they will go for a referendum, which will allow them to choose and say, oh, this is what we want, or we want to change here. We want to do this. We don't want Zimbabwe, I'm going to answer you.
Yes.
We don't want any Zimbabweans from any region, from any part of Zimbabwe, to say the capital city belongs to the Shona people or to the Ndebele people or to a certain group of people. It must be a Zimbabwean thing. Remember, we are Zimbabweans first before everything else. So as Zimbabweans together, we need to enjoy the fruits of Zimbabwe equally. And therefore, we are going to do it in such a way that every Zimbabwean is going to participate. Every Zimbabwean. Imagine if we are to do that. Let me just go a little bit further before I can go to justification.
Yes.
I'm saying along each motorway, we are going to put villages. We are going to do a villagization program. A villagization program is going to be very, very important for you people. Those people who are in the dust, in the bushes, our people who are suffering in the rural areas today, we will put them on villages which will be properly planned. And there will be electricity, there will be water, there will be civic centers, there will be small companies at each and every village, so that there is cash circulating around them, so that they can survive. And how are we going to do this? That's the basis now. I'm going to address two things. The first one is, at the moment, if you look at the chaotic setup, that is, okay, the colonialists, when they put up Harare and all these other cities, they didn't consider that we need to be equal. They only thought of putting up whatever they were putting up. Secondly, they were just thinking of a few number of people, very few. They were just thinking of themselves and not us. So the infrastructure was enough for them. But now, infrastructure meant for 100,000 people is now being used by 15 million, 16, 17 million people. That's not proper. That's why Harare is just a haphazard. And that's why after we had disclosed that we were going to put a new capital city, ZANU-PF thought of hijacking the idea. Then they put their own new city in Zimba. That one where they are building the Chinese parliament and so on. That's rubbish because they don't have a plan. They just hijacked our plan and they don't know exactly what we want to do. So we are saying, because of the haphazard setup which is there today, there is need for us then to come up with something that is better than that. That's the first thing. The second basis for this is that we need to develop, to follow what is happening world over. We need to catch up with time. We have got our mineral resources, that we have plenty mineral resources, which if properly managed and accounted for, all resources accounted for well, can take us somewhere. Even before we bring in these investors, we have got mineral resources. We have got other resources that we can manage very well and then put in place. So we have got everything that we need to do that. We need to create jobs for all our people in Zimbabwe. I'm telling you that if this is properly done, if this is properly put in place, we are going to have jobs for everybody, everyone. A group of people, you are crushing stones. A group of people, you are making window frames. A group of people, you are making this. Everybody is going to have something to do in New Zimbabwe. Within 3 months' time, everybody will have something to do. And those who cannot do because they are disabled or they've got other problems, they can now be catered for. We can actually be able to cater for them within a very short space of time. All that is needed is to have accountable leaders. I told you that our motto as Zimbabwe People Power Movement is that a country with the right leadership has got everything. So we are going to have everything because we will be having the right leadership, which is across the board, which represents everybody and which has got the capacity to do everything. I'm not going to talk about leadership today, how we're going to do it, because we're going to talk about transition, we're going to talk about this. I will talk about that some other time. But I'm saying at this moment in time, I'm only trying to address the fact that we want to have a Zimbabwe that is a proper Zimbabwe, which will compete in the world and world over. We must have, so I've talked of having a new capital city right at the center. Each and every state, those 4 other states, should have new state capitals. Well, I'm not saying we'll do it within a very short space of time, but slowly. That's the vision. It's a vision which can be short term, which can be medium, which can be long term. But look at it. You are going to have a new capital city which is modern. You are going to have a modern state capital, which is going to be also in a different format with the new capital city, so that people can actually say, no, we are going to the western state to view the city there, which is different from this city. We are going to the southern state, we are going to the northern state, we are going to the eastern state, something like that. So you can actually tour in your own country. You can be a tourist in your own country, going to see other new things that you have never seen in your life. So there is quite a lot that we are going to do, that we propose to do, and this emanates only, it starts from reconfiguring, as I have said, which we are going to animate. And not only that, but we are going to look, what did the colonialists do to upgrade the agricultural system? What they simply did was, they took their children, put them at Gwebi College. They started Gwebi College. They put their children there. They trained them. They took them, put them on farms. After putting them on farms, they provided them with everything. And then they put supervisors who are government employees to supervise them. And these youngsters became employees on these farms for a period of 5 years. Subject to you being approved to be doing the best. So you are supposed to perform at that farm. Why not divide our land and make small farms, maybe 300 hectares? We put our youngsters, we train them, we take experts, we put them to supervise them. They do proper farming in all those areas, because our villagers will be on villages with fields there and paddocks there. They need just small pieces of land. They've got some industries, small industries there, because every investor who is going to come will be allocated a village by a computer system. They will be, okay, you want to invest, you want to put a car manufacturing industry in the capital city, but we say, okay, first and foremost, condition number 1 is that you are supposed to belong to a village, and in that village you must invest at least 10% of your total investment. Invest it in the village where we have allocated you. So an investor has come. Now he belongs to Soswe village. In that village, he invests 10%. So he starts small businesses there. And those small businesses, he has got to partner with villagers in that village. So like that, so we allocate, we make sure that we come up with a computer system that is going to allocate. It doesn't matter, it's Bill Gates, it's whoever. As long as they come to invest, they must go into some other village where they will have to put a little bit of investment. So this is the vision. We are saying we want to empower everybody. Every investor has got to partner with villagers on that 10%, and on the 90% they also have to partner with our own people, and we come up with a culture of love, a culture of unity, even with the investors. So it's not like investors, they come to surrender their investment, but they come to partner with us, to work with us, and then we grow together. They become, as long as you go to a village, you become a citizen. We say, no, you are now a citizen, bring your family, you can stay in Zimbabwe, and we can be one family. Like that. So we stay together and work together, honestly, because everything has to be checked. So the most important thing are checks and balances. Do we have offices that are strict, that check from the leadership? Because our problems are with the leadership. The leadership, as long as leadership does not have checks and balances, people are not checking the leadership whether they are doing the right thing. So there is no way even the investors can be checked, the ministers can be checked, the other people can be checked. So we need checks and balances that will be done above board, that are transparent, that everybody else can be seeing that, okay, so this is like this is like that. Okay, we are getting so much diamond. How much is okay? It's being sold at this much. This much has gone there. This much has gone there. Something like that. We are going to put in place all that has to be done in Zimbabwe. Okay. And once we do that in Zimbabwe, we will be home and dry.
Right. I want to stop you at this point, because this is a lot to absorb for someone who is hearing this for the first time.
Yes.
So I want us to summarize what we've said. We've said that Zimbabwe, since 1980, has been going backwards. In fact, during Smith's days,
yes,
the colonizers did better than the current government.
Yes, that's very true.
Right. So then we move from there, and we've said that there is need to reconfigure the country.
Yes.
Geographically.
Yes.
And that reconfiguration is going to result in infrastructure coming up, which will result in employment, but at the same time, it will change the way Zimbabweans see the country.
Yes. Yes.
So you are going to have 5 provinces.
Yes, we are going to call them states.
5
That's
states.
the proposal, yes.
So the northern, eastern, southern, and we have central.
Yes, we have central,
western.
We have western, northern, southern, and eastern.
Okay. And then the central, where the capital will be at the center of Zimbabwe.
Yes, the main capital city will be right at the center.
Okay. And to fund all this, there are 2 models.
2, yes.
The villagization, which will result in the use of locally available minerals and resources.
Actually, there is going to be a project to do the new capital and these roads and everything.
Okay.
Secondly, we are going to have a villagization program. It's a program on its own, which needs funds. Funding is going to come from the accountable, utilization of our own resources that are available. And secondly, we are going to allow investors on a build, operate, and transfer basis, where we can say, look, you can build a motorway from Bedbridge to Chirundu and operate that motorway for a period of 40 years. You pay tax, you employ our people, you make use of our resources, but you gain your profits for a period of 40 years. Then after that, you can transfer it to Zimbabweans. You can build this, you can do this, you can do that on a build, operate, and then transfer that to us after a certain period. So resources are going to come from 2 sources. The first one is local resources. The second one is from this build, operate, and transfer basis.
Okay. Then all this will be hinged on a transitional mechanism that is based on a referendum. So everyone has an input.
Yes. On the transitional mechanism, once we have pushed the ZANU-PF, we are going to have a preliminary transitional system, the same system, the same system that is going to push away ZANU. So these will run for a short period, maybe 2 weeks, before we convene a national all-inclusive conference that will include people who come from all walks of life, representatives, and then a vote which will be more like a representative of a national vote. But it is going to be from, of course, selected individuals, participants from all walks of life, and then a properly constituted national transitional system is put in place. That is going to run now for a certain period, which can be 2 years, which can be 3 years, depending on what people want, until to sort out all these other things and put in place setup of all these other things. Make sure everybody has got employment, make sure everything has been put in place. That's what we are going.
Okay, so are our problems in Zimbabwe structural,
Yes.
geographic? Are they based on values? Do we have poor values? Do we lack a vision? Do we lack implementation? What is the problem in Zimbabwe right now?
Right. The first biggest problem is there is lack of democracy. There is not. You see, once you are not democratic, it means you are only working for your own family and your own stomach. You are not. You don't care about other people. That's the first thing. The second thing is, yes, coupled with lack of vision, because the people who are there, the ZANU-PF, when they moved into power, they simply grabbed and adopted what the colonizers had left, and they looked at it and said, oh, this is what is good for us, this is what is good for us. And so they just proceeded and kept on just panel beating those systems to suit themselves. They are egocentric. They don't care about other people. They are self-centered. They just think of themselves. And so that is a very big problem. Then the third problem is lack of checks and balances. Nobody is checking what is happening. And so there are no corrections whatsoever. It's just one man for himself, God for us all. These people are just doing what they want and as they please. Because themselves, they think that they are the state, they are the country. That's why some people, some Zimbabweans, think that soldiers work for ZANU. When they see a soldier, they say they are ZANU-PF people. They think soldiers are ZANU-PF. People think that policemen are ZANU-PF. And yet the opposite is true. The state and ZANU-PF are two different things. So we are going to totally separate the state from politics and make sure that the state runs without all these political interferences. We are going to upgrade the traditional system. Our chiefs, our village heads, we are going to upgrade them to a certain level where they can also be part of the checking, and they can be checking the systems. And they must be not these who are being used by ZANU-PF. We want independent. They must be an independent traditional leadership where we have the superior chief, whatever name they can be given, who is more with some kind of power to say, if they say no to something, it's no. If they must put a signature somewhere to make sure they check the politicians, because politicians are abusing power. So we want the judiciary to be totally independent. We want the parliament to be totally independent. We also want traditional leaders to be totally independent.
Okay, so I think, as I said, this is a lot to absorb. I suggest that we take another day to talk about systems.
Yes.
Because now we've talked about geographical issues, and we've talked a bit about infrastructure development. We've talked a bit about investment. You also talked about tourism. What you're saying connects to tourism, because tourism are not coming to Zimbabwe because the country is not friendly to tourism.
Yes.
Investors are not coming to Zimbabwe because the country is not friendly to investors.
Yes.
Even local Zimbabweans are not going to Zimbabwe because there is a lack of democracy.
Yes.
People who've got money now, they would rather go to South Africa than go to Zimbabwe. So the solutions that you're providing, they cover a lot more than just politics.
Of course.
So if someone was to say, give this, what you're describing, a name, what would we call this?
Yeah, we would actually look at this as, of course, a new vision for Zimbabwe.
Yes.
This is completely a new Zimbabwe coming in, because you see, this is what should have been done in 1980. People should have sat down and come up with a like what was described by Tinashe Jonas, that it's a dream for Zimbabwe. Of course, it must be a Zimbabwean dream, like the American dream. It must be something that is completely Zimbabwean and not coming from somewhere. As it is, we are like people who have not started. We are still in 1980. We are still fighting to remove colonizers because we have not changed anything. The very same laws are still in place.
Yes.
In another name, even worse. So we are going to change all this. This is a new Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe, it's a new beginning, as others described it. That's why we have got a motto which also says, Zimbabweans together as one. Zimbabweans together as one. We must, enjoy all of us. And so it's a new vision for Zimbabwe. That's how I can describe it.
Okay, so I think let's end it here today. But before we end, I want you to just say anything that you think you've not covered, which is relevant to our discussion today.
Yes, it's in terms of this, I'm only saying, people of Zimbabwe, can you all come out in full force and be behind Zimbabwe People Power Movement? Zimbabwe People Power Movement has got your answer. I can, proudly say this. I'm not saying it's my idea. It's your idea. This is you, the people of Zimbabwe, doing this. Nobody is going to impose anything to you. Soldiers, police, CIO, prison officers, you are being used by this government today. Please look at it from this point. Can you sit down at home, think about this, and say, why are we being used to brutalize our own people? Why are we refusing this milk and honey? Zimbabwe is milk and honey. We want to see that flowing. And this is the way Zimbabwe People Power Movement has brought it. It is you. It is a unit of all the people. I'm not saying leave your political parties. You can remain in your political parties, but can we participate in this so that we push this evil system of ZANU-PF? Once we have done that, then we can go back to our political parties. We can call for elections, free and fair elections and genuine elections. And we can elect whoever leaders that we think they are the best leaders. I am not saying I'm the best, but I'm saying let us come together just for this and we fight. Thank you very much, all of you, all those who are supporting Zimbabwe People Power Movement. We are having loads and loads of people coming, and we thank you. Please be safe wherever you are in support of Zimbabwe People Power Movement. Let us keep on moving on together. Mobilize. Tell the next person sitting next to you right now as I'm speaking to you. Tell the guy sitting next to you that have you heard of Zimbabwe People Power Movement? Tomorrow as you go for whatever your job, you're selling whatever, wherever you are, can you be talking of Zimbabwe People Power Movement, ZPPM? ZPPM for Zimbabweans. Let us do this. This is not for Shonas. This is not for Ndebeles. This is not for blacks. This is not for whites. This is for us all. Zimbabweans together as one. Can we do that? Ask those people next to you right now to say, have you ever heard of this? Here is a golden chance to change Zimbabwe. Let us be with this. If I lose the direction, please remove me as the leader and put someone else and keep moving. Don't follow me as an individual. Follow the idea. Thank you very much, people of Zimbabwe.
Right. Thank you very much, Mr. Albert Matapo of the Zimbabwe People Power Movement. We'll be continuing again tomorrow. I want us to go in depth into these ideas because we're all searching for solutions.
Yes.
To the problem that is really distressing many, many young people in Zimbabwe.
Yes.
Right. Thank you very much for the people that are watching. If you're watching this on WhatsApp, please send this to as many people as possible. If you're watching on YouTube, please like our YouTube channel. And Mr. Matapo's number is on the screen. You can WhatsApp him anytime and contribute to this discussion. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.